Hey, welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. I'm going to do a general message for you. All know that energy is fluid, so roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates for you. Always know that the message goes to who needs to hear the message. That's why parts of the message can go to you and parts of the message can resonate with the person that you're connected to, or that is, you may not even be connected to them. They could be connected to you. You may be connected to them. You both can be connected to each other. Nevertheless, it's whatever the dominant energy is. And usually, unfortunately, negative energy is more dominant energy. Okay. Now here, I always do soul readings, whether it's going to be on this channel or my Psychic Soul Healer channel, which all it means is I tend to I open up every reading looking at the spiritual energy and then looking at the samskaras, which are the soul wounds. That's going to let us know why a person acts the way that they do. It'll also let us know why certain triggers are what they are. And then it'll tell us what we need to do in order to deal with the situation, because every situation is karmic, depending on what you do, right? Because again, for every action, there's a reaction, and really karma is created from our reactions. So that's why when we have wounds, we tend to be very emotional, and those are traumas. And traumas keep us locked in a limited perception until we go through a karmic experience that teaches us something different. So we always get taught the biggest lessons from the people that we grow up with, our family, and then our lovers, people that we care about, our friends, our soul family. We recognize this energy because there's a familiarity. The person normally feels like home. We a lot of times could even feel as if that person's supposed to be in our life. And it's because they've been in our, in our soul family for many, many lifetimes. So again, that's why there's a soul recognition. Now, if you're new to the channel, anything of any importance to the channel, you can find in my description box. You can also find my Patreon link, which will lead to my subscriptions. I offer shadow healing coaching, which is really inner child healing. It's past life healing, it's reparenting, and it's which is healing. It's shadow healing. It's again based on inner child healing and the ancestral healing a lot of times that we need. And then the subscriptions come with meditation, breath work, EFT, and a few other healing modalities. Because again, when you're healing trauma, you just can't have an awareness to heal it. You actually have to integrate the spiritual lesson, and that's through doing something different, embodying a different experience, really embodying an experience that is of the same karmic theme, but seeing a different result is really what integration is. One that takes you out of a place of limitation and fear, and one that actually empowers you and enables you to see yourself different. So that's really what healing is all about. Now, without further ado, Virgo, let's jump in and let's look at your spiritual energy, and also let's pull the card of the day. If you're interested in entering into winning a free psychic reading with me, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the magic word of the day in your comment bar. The word of the day is going to be omniscience. Omniscience, okay? And what you will do is you will again like, subscribe, and write that word in your comment bar, and you'll know if I chose you, if I wrote the word winner underneath your comment. If I did, then you and I will just correspond back and forth on YouTube. And even the day that we both decide that works for us to do your reading, the reading's always done live, but you won't have to worry about trying to locate that link, because I will just post that link the day of the live stream, or maybe the day before the live stream, underneath our comments. So you'll always be able to find it. It's super easy. All right. Now let's, again, looking, sometimes I'm called to use the word of the day. Today I was like, okay. Invincibility is the word of the day. How we are going to start your reading off, not really the word of the day. Invincibility. See, when I'm tapping into this word right away, I'm feeling like someone believes that they're in a connection with someone that can stand the test of time, regardless of what they do, regardless of what happens, that it will always repair, that it will always, that it's invincible. It will never end. And whether that's true or not is something we'll see. But this is a person's perception. Now, I don't know whether this is you, Virgo, and the person that you're connected to, or, you know, and when I tap in, I really kind of feel like it's a little bit of both. You may feel like this is a soul's connection that you're tapped into, where again, and your other person might say, well, I've tried to walk away several times and I feel like I can't. This is usually what, you know, makes us think that something's invincible. It's like, because we try and end it, we try and kill it, we try to sabotage it, we try and do everything, and it's still there. Again, it's because it's teaching about unconditional love, quantum cones. It's again the spiritual laws, right? It's again that signs and synchronicities. It's a soul language. It's spirituality. When we're talking spirit, you know, it's the only thing that transcends time and space. So again, that unconditional love, which we find in our soulmate, it transcends lifetimes. So then when again we meet up in this lifetime, there's a lot of times there's issues. We're brought together with this person because it's a divine counterpart. It's someone that we're supposed to meet. And this is why there's a sense of this relationship, it's invincible. Now, whether it is or not, like I said, I think that that's a perception. Because again, when you're dealing with someone that you love, no one's perfect. However, the feeling of something being invincible, right, can make us feel as if it's perfect, especially if it's of spiritual energy. There's a soul recognition. Anything that vibrates unconditional love, and really that's what a soulmate is. That any person in your soul family is, again, there's a soul recognition, and that's based on, again, the feeling of comfort and a home, and it's of unconditional love. It's that. So imagine if it can transcend lifetimes, so why wouldn't it be able to withstand the limited issues that we have? And I say it exactly like that because when we have a block, it's a limitation that we perceive within ourselves. It's a limitation that we may perceive within our situation. But is that a reality? No, it's a perception. That's what we know here on the Psychic Soul Healer channel and on my Virgo channel, which we're actually on my Virgo channel, but anywhere where I'm at, I'm talking about from a spiritual perspective. And that, again, there's no right or wrong. It just is. It's perception. We associate, pain obviously with bad. But here, even what this is saying, even through the pain, even through the heart, there's still this connection. I feel like you're connected to someone that's having this realization, and it's to bring this merciless forgiveness. And this is what I'm saying, is that I feel like you are connected to someone that again, the relationship really should have been torn apart. It should have been broken, devastated, ended, destroyed. Both of you tried to walk away from this relationship, but it's a divine relationship. And I believe this person has come into your life to teach you about forgiveness, right? Because I believe that, again, you're connected to someone that did everything to destroy this relationship. And though they did all that, now they feel very foolish. So let's look at the samskaras. We're going to look and see actually what actually happened. But we like to look at the wounds first to understand why the crazy behavior. because we can take on the crazy behavior like we were deserving of it. This is why we have to do this way. Again, healing is about seeing a different perception of your situation. And if we're dealing with somebody that we're really, again, connected to on this level, we can imagine how much that hurts, right? When a person doesn't treat us right. When a person deliberately tries to end relationships, gets in their own way, makes us feel like as if, first of all, am I imagining this connection? No, you're not imagining it. You may say, well, why did they do that? Well, we'll get to that, but obviously they need healing. Okay, disequilibrium. So this is all about a person like being, now I'm feeling like this is both your energy, believe it or not. When we feel disequilibrium, we feel stressed out. We feel a burnout, like when your adrenals are in fight, flight, or freeze for so long because you're in survival mode, because emotionally this person is triggering you because what they're doing, they're like trying to end, they're trying to destruct this relationship, they're trying to do everything to ruin the relationship, but what they're seeing is that it's invincible, but it's creating this energy not just within you, Virgo. I feel like they gave it to themselves. So oftentimes life puts too much on our plate. We try to do it all, and really at the cost of our well-being. And so this is what this says. Our own being demands our attention. If we continue tending to the others and neglecting ourselves, we are faced with burnout and problems in mental or physical nature. So I'm feeling as if, again, you both, again, have created this energy within each other. You, because you're watching them and, again, you're connected to them and there is emotional connection and they're doing all this. And then because the more that they're doing it, the more that they're seeing that they still have feelings toward you. And it's like they can't help it. And so it's creating this same environment that I feel like you both kind of grew up in, around. A lot of times when we grow up in an environment that we perceive wasn't safe. So again, when we're looking at soul wounds, we're looking at the samskaras that have either happened from past life or happened in this life. And usually if they happened in this life, they happened in a past life. You haven't learned that lesson from a past life because we live many, many lifetimes. So we incarnate with our soul wounds. And so the soul wounds need to be integrated here. And remember, soulmates tend to have the same wounds. They just aren't mirrored out the same way. They don't have the same behaviorisms from those wounds. So I believe, again, from you, Virgo, this person created a lot of overstimulation inside of you, too much thought, too much emotion, continually throwing you out of balance, because when you're emotionally connected to someone and they are constantly in and out, they're triggering abandonment issues, and them deliberately getting in their own way and sabotaging the relationship created all this energy inside of them. Again, that threw them out of balance because you can't control a divine union. You can't control love. You can't end love. You can't demolish it. You can get mad at somebody, but when the anger dissipates, when eventually it will, especially if you love that person, if that person's of a soul family member, what you'll see is what's remained is love. When there's a tower moment and everything crumbles to the ground, the only thing that's left is unconditional love, anything that's real. And what's real is at the core foundation of what it is, and that's love. Because everything, when it's born into this world, is born as that energy of unconditional love. We're taught to, again, not love. We're taught separation. We're taught to detached. Again, our experiences, and this is what that tells me. It tells me that both parties grew up in an environment where, again, they both never really had good connection to their parents. And maybe they didn't feel safe. So Virgo, it again created this anxiety within you, the fight, flight, freeze. And with them, again, this sabotaging behaviorism. So the triggers, I just want to look at the triggers, and then we're going to look at the wounds just to go a little bit deeper. And then, because then we can see how we can shape shift our reality with this person, or quantum jump into a better reality, even without this person. You know, this is why we want to know everything, because a lot of times our mind will not let go of a situation or detach from a situation, even if it's toxic, if it identifies with love, survival. Your mind doesn't know the difference between, you know, what if you're really in survival, or whether emotionally you're just in survival, like whether you're running for a bear is running after you and you're running to save your life, or whether or not you're just in overdrive. And what we see here is, again, burnout. Both parties have burnout. Enough. I had enough of your bad temper and disrespect. I feel like, again, that's your person, what they would do is, because they never really wanted to give 100%, they would gaslight, they would twist things around, and it was very disrespectful. So I feel like you did have to walk away, because they were, and they knew what they were doing. That's the whole thing of it. There was a sense that they thought, because they've done this before to other people, that maybe you'd stick around, that you would deal with it, that. And then part of them was also like, I don't want you to stick around, because it's like we have such a deep connection that I don't know how to not care. And when a person is really afraid, they get in their own way. It's not a conscious thing. I mean, it was conscious what they did, where they, would twist things around and not give you anything, but they didn't really consciously mean to take it to the extreme that they did, is what I'm feeling. Because a lot, whatever they were doing consciously, there was a lot underneath that you didn't see subconsciously, the workings of them. And remember, when a person has a wound, they're not coming from a logical perspective. Sometimes it's all logic and there's no emotion, right? So this person could have came from a too much logic, but when it's too much logic and you're dealing with, a relationship, you have to tap into your intuition. You have to tap into your heart. There needs to be a balance. This person acted very cold and selfishly from their perspective. Again, only caring about their own needs because they were so terrified, trapped. It's again, and they felt trapped in this connection with no way out, and I also believe you felt a little trapped, even if you weren't with them. When you have this strong soul connection, and it's like in there, it's intense, and there's a lot of chemistry there. It's hard to walk away. So I could see how you would feel trapped. But I feel like this person, anytime that you would say anything, like wanted to know about the future, wanted to know what they wanted to do next week, even not even in the far future, but just make plans so that you felt some sort of consistency, or I don't want to say safety, but like there is a safety when people are consistent. There is an emotional comfort when you know what you're going to get when you're dealing with a person. And any time that you would try to do that, this person would again sabotage the relationship, create a lot of issues and problems because they felt trapped. But really, that's their own fear that's keeping them trapped, not you. And that's really when we have a wound, we project our wound onto the person that we care about. So that's why you may say, well, I was nothing but nice to this person. I didn't do anything but nice. and they treated me like the enemy. But then you're going to say that they cared about me so much. Well, that's what a wound looks like. It's called the psychological reversal. And that's when your intention is to do one thing, but you do the exact opposite. And you get in your own way and you sabotage yourself because on a core level, you don't really believe you can have. And so again, what creates that trap really is when I have a lot of anxiety, when I'm really nervous, when I'm in burnout, I'm not in a logical state. I'm in autopilot. So, which is what we saw here. Again, burnout, stressed out. We're not thinking. We're coming from a place of survival. And even though it triggered you to go into that too, because of how they acted. Isolated. I feel you go into hermit mode without saying anything to me. This leaves me alienated and isolated. So again, this is what this person does. Like I said, they have one foot in, one foot out, and they don't. They just shut down. So there might not even be anybody else. That's not even what this is saying. What this is saying is that there's a deep soul connection that someone tried to destroy, sabotage in every worst way that they could have, because of past relationships or just because they don't feel comfortable. I'm feeling it was from childhood, to be honest with you, that this is a very old wound for the both of you. And really the spiritual lesson is about forgiveness. When we are connected to someone that we logically are like, I really shouldn't like this person because I have 1,000 reasons on the list on why I shouldn't, but I still do. Why is that? Well, I feel like that person was my soulmate. I feel like that person, understand the person needs to still want to heal, and they have to change their behavior because it wouldn't matter. However, if they want to do that, then you're confronted with this. Either way, when I say confronted with this, you're going to be confronted with this either way, because if you don't forgive, that karmic cycle will play out with other relationships. But you're really confronted with this when the person comes to you and they say, hey, I'm sorry, I want, like, can we talk about, and they give you a line, then you're faced with, are you going to want to forgive them? We don't know whether you're going to do that yet, but I'm just saying, everything leads to forgiveness. Whether or not you stay with this person, you give them another chance, whether they come back, whether they don't come back, because the wound was not first created from them. This person is coming to your life to teach you about unconditional love, about, again, forgiveness. Because we can't walk away. We want to walk away, but we can't walk away. And we realize if we walk away, we're going to wind up hurting a lot. So it's like you cut your nose off to spite your face. But that, again, teaches us another spiritual lesson. So it's tough lessons. Okay, dominate. I felt I had no sense of control over my choices because you wanted to dominate me. So domination doesn't always look like that someone's, berating you and physically abusing you. And again, the domination is just, I know how to manipulate you, and I'm going to give you very little, and I'm going to always make you wonder what's going on with us, and I'm going to keep you sitting right there, kind of keep you stuck, because I know that you have an emotional connection to me, because I don't really want to see you move on, but I don't really want to give you anything either. So it's a real selfish thing. But I understand, the more that they did it, the more that they saw that you weren't playing the game. Because in order for them to do this, and the reason why is because you felt isolated. You were like, I don't want to do this. I want to do this. I don't want to do this. That's all I keep hearing. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Because that's what it feels like when you're have a lot of anxiety, and when you're in this survival mode and someone that you care about is making you feel so bad, eventually you have to let go. And that's really a lot of times a spiritual lesson. So let's see what else. perfection. So it's again, maybe you felt like, again, that you weren't good enough. Maybe you felt, again, like you were with this person because the lesson is really self-love, to love yourself, and that you already are perfect. This person does care about you. This person does love you. Understand, love, is it the divine love? No, this person's not healed enough to even know what divine love is. But do they sense that divine love? Yes. They know that this is an important connection. They can feel, but they look at you like you're perfect. They want to love you, but they're wounded. So their type of love is really about control and everything on their terms, because they're too nervous to really relinquish control. And this, a lot of times when we're with someone that there's such a strong chemistry and love in the beginning and things go fast, we think that the person's perfect. And then what happens is we try to maintain that level of perfect, which it's not possible, because again, you got to be able to go with the flow of life, and life isn't perfect. I mean, it's not. And so it's the fact that that we have unconditional love for someone that makes it perfect. It's not the other way around. It's not like I perceive you as perfect, so now I'm going to love you. No, because the moment that you show a flaw, that if you're no longer perfect, is to realize that this relationship already is perfect because it's a divine one. But the person would need to let go of control, stop trying to sabotage, stop trying to dominate, because they made a mess out of this relationship because this is where they decided to take it. Grief. Again, loss, like it, because it kept you in a place of loss. But I believe, again, that was the way that you dealt with things, Virgo. The way when you grew up in your house, it wasn't, when you're a child, you're not going to fight back if your parent is unavailable, whether they're an alcoholic, whether a parent's sick, whether one died. I mean, this is a collective reading. But again, what I'm feeling is that your parent wasn't able to give on an emotional level, and here it is, you're reliving that same karmic theme where it's like you're expected to be perfect, and really in the fact that you're not perfect, it would throw you out of balance, right? It would create a lot of anxiety, like, what if I'm not gonna be good enough? You're going to leave. You're going to like go and isolate yourself. And that is what keeps me trapped and waiting for you to come back, waiting for you. I had enough of it, is again of the manipulation. However, even though I do, and it dominated me for a long time, like it obviously kept me in grief, is why I had to walk away. But even though I did, it's like this relationship is invincible. It's a spiritual connection. Why do I have to deal with this is painful, and both parties feel it. And it's because the lesson is merciful forgiveness. It's like you have to let go. You have to let go of your anger. So does that mean that you guys are supposed to be together? No, not all the time. It depends whether this person's going to step it up a notch. You know what I mean? But let's look at some hidden truths, because we can see a lot of times when we have wounds, feel a lot of different emotions about it. One day we could feel one way, another day we could feel another way, and understand that's what it is. It makes you crazy. It makes you all over the place, because you're fighting with your heart and your head. And that is the energy that I'm kind of feeling with the person that you're connected to, and yourself as well, but your person even more, because they wanted to control. You're not looking to control. You're looking to just, at this point, I feel like just be free of the drama, because it was making you sick. It was hurting you too much. And so now I'm kind of feeling like it's making a person angry because they can't control you in that way anymore. So they would, again, they still don't want to let you go. They still don't want to give you anything, but they still don't want to let you go. So they have to change their approach, is what I'm feeling. I'm starting to understand our connection because that they keep trying to destroy the relationship and they can't. So, which is making them, ask people, do research. I don't believe that this person is very spiritual. So they've never had like connection like this before. Usually they can turn it on and off. They're not very an emotional person. I shouldn't say that. Is that they haven't learned to master their emotions. So they don't like to depend on them. They like to come more from a very logical state of mind, which is very imbalanced, by the way, because again, in love and in relationships, there usually is no right or wrong. Everything's perception. And what we have to do is we have to come to a place of equilibrium and find the balance. And then we can get out of our own disequilibrium, right? Then we can find balance within ourselves. If we are not in balance, it's because we're fighting with the situation. We're seeing it, I want it my way. No, this person wanted their way. So we can see, but that's again where merciless forgiveness comes into play. It's like, well, it's not even about who's right, who's wrong. It's about the bigger lesson. I want to feel that way again. It's again because even your person's getting a little bit tired of the separation. They're like, okay, this is getting played, but they realize that they're the person that created all of it. I hid who I really am from you. Again, which is not uncommon when you don't like who we are. If we feel that we can't get love because from such a young age there was betrayal in the home that we grew up in, and then we continually sabotage our relationships unconsciously, we could see why we wouldn't like who we are and why we would kind of live more from that mask perspective. It's like, I want you to believe this is who I am, and I'm going to show you this version of me, and so you can't really come that close, which is why they had one foot in, one foot out. Again, and that's why anytime you would say anything, they would get mad and throw a temper tantrum and again go and isolate themselves, and then that would keep you feeling really lonely. So it's again, they weren't abusing you, they were continually gaslighting you. I want you. So there's still a ton of passion between this connection. And I say it like that because it's again, what is fueling this is not the fact that they've given time and gotten to know you. It's the fact of what they perceive you are and what they like what you look like. So it's all outside things. So again, but understand it's that fire from the passion that actually can transmute the deep wounds. Why we wouldn't stick around long enough unless we were hot for the other person. Who the hell is going to deal with one foot in, one foot out? You don't know what you want. You're confused. You want me, but you don't want me. I mean, nobody, no one will stick around for this. It's like at the point that you're like, well, maybe even listening to this, it's because there's some sort of attraction. There's a lot of chemistry. And your person certainly wouldn't be putting up with this because they avoid their emotions. So they're like that, they tried to destroy the relationship. I regret lying to you. I feel like they lied because they acted like they didn't really care. And now it's like they feel foolish because they're only going to have to come back around and tell the truth, which, this person now is like, now I have to express myself and open my emotions. And I did this to not have to do all that. We need to let each other go. I feel like they fight with it. They fight with it. It's very scary for them. Very scary for them. And they're still all over the place, as you can see. Like there's a lot of regret. There's a lot of this person's had to look at their wounds. They've had to look at what they've done. They had to look at why they did it. I mean, I couldn't let you get close. I lied to you about who I am, what I feel about you. It's easier to let you go because it's like I don't know whether you're gonna like who I present to you. I don't even know whether I'm gonna like that person. This is where this person is. It's creating like almost like a an awakening with inside them, I need time. Because again, they're all over the place. They can't make a decision. And I feel like they keep procrastinating because on some level they're like, I know that I didn't treat this connection properly. I didn't really think that it would affect me. Like I thought it would affect you, but now I'm seeing I'm affected by it. Wait a minute, I'm realizing that this connection is deep and it actually means something. Oh no, I can't even, because that means I have to fix everything that I just did. But I feel like we're soulmates. I feel like this relationship is invincible. Like even with all that, and you're just standing there like, like making, I'm sure it has made you mad again, create a lot of grief, like we said, which is sadness again, which if we've had parents that didn't show up for us or didn't make us feel worthy or didn't give us the nurturing and the love, it's bringing all that. And every other relationship that we had that mirrored that wound, it's like, and then to feel it within inside this person, well, we can see why we would be like, you need time, you should be like doing backflips to fix it. It's like this person needs to process. Please be patient with me. And if you wanted to be in a relationship with them, you would have to be, because they don't even know what this looks like. They're like a blind person figuring it out. Weary. Make more time to rest, escape from the pressure, practice radical self-care. They need like a long time. They need, like, again, it's like, because the more that, and you too, I think, feel like you both need to disconnect, because the more that you think about something that you can't find a solution to, because you're not actually sitting there and getting the other person's perception. Whenever we look at a situation from one perception, and it's only our perception, it creates a lot of anxiety all the time, because it leaves us with no choice, and it creates a lot of emotion. Too much thought, too much emotion creates overstimulation, which is what creates burnout. So what Spirit is saying is, take a step back. You feel a little tired and weary. It's again, only in the now do I give you divine guidance. You have to get out of your own head and give me space. And give me space to like fix it. It's again, otherwise your anxiety is just gonna block you even more. So you kind of feel like your person's stuck, and you're stuck because you're not seeing any movement. So you're actually in a Mexican standstill. Nobody is moving because everyone's frozen, which is actually the same feeling of that burnout, which is what you experience when you're in overdrive, which is what you have experienced from that original trauma. And that is what would need to be integrated. I have sexual fantasies about you. So again, the person still is really, really passionate about you. It's not like they're not. I want to look at some hidden truths. No, let me use a different deck. I want to see, how do you feel? How do you feel? Because like right now, I'm reading at this from like the perception that you might consider. And I only say that because you're a soul. I'm making changes for the better. I feel like there's a part of you that's like, is making changes for the better in your own life, and that's helping you distract yourself from this energy. I am filled with regret. So I maybe feel like this is still talking about them, not even still talking about you. Maybe you don't really even feel anything about it. What's one more? The chemistry between us is off the chart. So this is still this person. This person is still like obsessed with your energy, to be honest with you. And I don't believe that that's a one-way street. If anything, what I feel that is that you're like, well, like, I do know that this is, again, a soulmate. There is chemistry. I don't like the way that this person did. And I do believe that regardless of whether I'm with them or not, I needed to learn unconditional. Um, I needed to learn about unconditional love, but I needed to learn it from about forgiveness. It's again because that's a form of unconditional love. And we wouldn't need to learn that lesson unless we needed to learn it because something has happened in our life that has really dictated a lot of our energy. So again, the fact that there's so much chemistry is what tells me that you still care. But let's see, can I get one balance? They like there's a part of you that doesn't really know what you want to do with it because this person hasn't shown you enough. However, because it is a soul relationship and there is a lot of chemistry, I'm gonna say it again. I feel as if you're like, if this person comes back balanced, if this person like shows me what they need to show me in the right amount of time, like you don't really know, you'll just know by like a feeling, if that makes sense. And time is going to tell you that. And how they act is going to tell you that. That's why, again, your intuition is what I'm getting at. It's like you don't really know. You just know that there is a connection and you two have tried to walk away from this connection and you can't. It's invincible. You know that there's something special here. It doesn't logically make sense to either one of you, but that's because it's calling for balance, that it's not one or the other. And sometimes when the lesson is all about like forgiveness, merciless forgiveness, it means, first of all, merciless forgiveness is like I have to forgive something that is not forgivable. Oh, sorry about that. Which is not, sorry about that, which is not forgivable. So that's number one. It's like, and number two, it's the fact of unconditional love. Like I can't walk away from this. Like it's not a heart or it's not a heart. I'm thrown into my head. It's not a mind or heart thing. It's not one or the other. We have to find our balance in it, meaning I have to not just look at this from an emotional standpoint, I have to logically think about it. And I think for your person, it's not about, well, I can't just deal with this from a logical perspective. I have to like tap into my heart. I have to find my balance. I'm imbalanced because I choose to look at the situation from a place that's more comfortable for me, that doesn't make me feel vulnerable, which is again logically, which is what I'm feeling your person was doing. They were trying to strategize how to deal with you when it's a soul connection and you were like not having it. You were like no. And so they realized that that didn't work and they feel like it's bad, but it doesn't mean that they're again not afraid. They've tried to walk away. They can't. They're tired, they're exhausted, they're drained, the same as you. That's the energy that's all over this reading, that both of you are like exhausted, tired, and drained, even though this person was the person to create all of it. It's like, can you forgive them? I mean, what it says here is that you're going to try. You're going to try. Now I'm going to pull one more message. That's from the soulmate twin flame cards. Now, I'm not saying that this is twin flame, but this is definitely a soulmate relationship. So we like to see what are the big messages. They're a hidden reveal, number one. And number two, what is the spiritual energy? I was looking to the deck that I wanted to use after, and it's right over there, which is from the divine. So one more message for the relationship, which is, I keep replaying everything that happened between us in my mind, and it hurts too much. So again, because they care, they see exactly what they did, how they did it, they feel foolish. They're realizing that you're much more important to them. It's again, I feel like they weren't really aware that they were coming from this survival perspective either. So it's again, that happens a lot of times. A lot of times when we're in a situation that is very emotionally turbulent and has our minds in overdrive, we're just thinking about getting through a situation. And it's not until months later do we go back and reflect, and we're looking at the situation now from a different set of eyes, different perception. And now the person is kind of stuck in regret, where they're like, they went from trying to control the situation to it backfiring and then being in regret and being like, well, now I have to do something to fix it, but they're still in a place of I want it, but I don't, still in a place of control. So I don't see them doing anything yet, but the fact that their mind is getting prepared to do something, because I know that they can't stay in this place for long because there's unconditional love there. It's not like they don't. I believe that what they're actually doing is that they're making changes right now for the better. And part of that is cleaning up their life before they actually come back to you. I just feel like they keep, you know, procrastinating. They keep procrastinating because, again, they don't really know how you're going to react, and they know how they treated you was bad. Now, one last message. What has the divine tell us to deal with this situation? How do we deal with it? Unconditional love. My heart is free from resentment towards others. I open my eyes of my heart and discover the light and beauty in everything. I am aware that suffering can cause distress and hurt in people. I see the pure child in everyone and practice forgiveness. Unconditional love. That's what it was about. It was about learning forgiveness because you needed to learn that lesson. It's one of the most important. It is the most important lesson in the Bible. It's the hardest lesson that we actually need to learn. And especially when we get it within a soulmate, even if it's not a lover, even if it's a friend that betrays us, it hurts. It hurts a lot because we're like, how could you do that to me? I would never do that to you. And we replay and replay and replay and give 1,000 excuses. And what the spirit is saying is sometimes like there's no excuse. A person is not acting from their logical like mind where they're taking everything into consideration. They're taking only one element of their life into consideration, which is usually, from a survival perspective, and which is only about their own needs. And it was nothing really personal, though it looks very personal because you're like, well, I would never do this. And Spirit saying, this person still has a lot of feelings for you, but they're very wounded. They're very afraid. If you are willing to be patient and get back to that place of unconditional love, your relationship can persevere. If you cannot, your relationship will not be able to because you'll be stuck in being angry. And then you will most likely be stuck in this feeling of eventually one day, I wish. Because to be honest with you, wherever you are is home. And you feel safe and in peace with you, and really like because it's a soul's connection. And that's what you guys know. Because both, it started off with a person trying to destroy the relationship and you walking away and everybody hating the relationship. But after they did everything, everybody still is like, well, I still have feelings for each other. Why is that? It's because it's, again, forgiveness. Now you may say, I have to forgive more than that person. And you do this time around. But if a person's a soulmate, many times we, change roles. Again, we trigger each other in different ways that bring up different wounds. And so you were the strong one this time. Maybe next time this person will be strong, depending on whether or not you're in the relationship for a long time. But either way, it's teaching balance, really, because in order to be with this person, you both have to be balanced, which is not too logical, not too emotional. Again, utilizing both, coming more from a spirit perspective, which is the gut, intuition, that knowing center, and that's void of the ego. When then we can let go of the ego, it's actually very easy to forgive. And I'm going to leave that there, Virgo. If you resonated with this, let me know, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.